The internet is absolutely flooded with free land headlines designed to sell you tax lane nightmares or desert plots with zero water rights. They pitch you a freedom, but they're really selling you a liability. But lately, the biggest confusion I'm seeing is about Mow-to-Own programs. People think this means you can just grab a lawnmower, cut the grass on a random vacant lot in a major city, and the government will hand you the deed. That is not how it works. If you don't understand the difference between a rural homestead grant and an urban Mow-to-Own side lot program, you're going to end up with a property tax bill for a piece of dirt you can't even build on. You need to understand the asset class before you sign the contract. Most people think homesteading means buying 40 acres in Idaho for $500,000. But if you don't have that capital, you're stuck renting until inflation eats you alive. Here's the reality. There are municipalities in the United States right now that are desperate for a tax base. They have the dirt, but they need the people. They're facing demographic collapse, and they're willing to trade land to solve it. However, we need to clarify the terminology immediately, because most of you are confusing two completely different economic vehicles. First, you have rural homestead incentives. This is where a dying town gives you a buildable lot for free, provided you have the cash to construct a new house within a year. They're trading an illiquid asset, empty land, for your liquid capital and future tax payments. This is a construction project, not a camping trip. Second, and this is what everyone keeps asking about, is the Mow-to-Own or side lot program. This is specifically an urban strategy. Here's the catch that the brochures don't explain. For a true Mow-to-Own program, in 99% of cases, you must already own the property next door. You have to be an adjacent homeowner, or at the very least, a resident of the same county with a clean record. They aren't giving random strangers land to speculate on. They're giving neighbors the liability of maintaining the blight next to them. You are trading sweat equity, literally pushing a lawnmower and hauling trash for a deed. I'm breaking down 12 specific locations that utilize these strategies. I'll explain which ones are rural builds and which ones are true Mow-to-Own side lot programs. And I'm going to tell you the eligibility requirements for each, because if you don't live in the county, some of these are completely off limits to you. Let's get into it. Number 1, Curtis, Nebraska. This is the Arrowhead Meadows program. On paper, they're offering free lots overlooking a golf course. Most people hear golf course and assume it's a luxury retirement trap. But here's what's actually happening. Curtis is fighting rural depopulation. They need bodies in houses to keep the school district and local economy from collapsing. So they offer the deed to the land for free to incentivize migration. But here's the real problem you need to understand. This is not a Mow-to-Own situation. You cannot just maintain the grass and pitch a tent. The covenants here are strict. You have a construction timeline, usually starting within months of signing and finishing within a year or two. You are required to build a single-family home with a concrete foundation. The math works like this. You save maybe $30,000 on the land cost, but you must have the liquid capital or a construction loan to build the house immediately. If you can't get financing because you don't have a job lined up in rural Nebraska, the free land is worthless to you. You're essentially acting as your own developer in a market with very little liquidity. Number 2, Marquette, Kansas. They're offering free building lots in the West Ridge Edition. This program has been running for a while, and the reason it hasn't filled up is simple. Geography. Marquette is in the dead center of the country. It's quiet. It's isolated. For a survivalist mindset, this is actually a massive benefit. You're far away from major urban unrest zones, and you're surrounded by agricultural production. But here's the catch regarding eligibility. Unlike a Mow-to-Own program, where you might just need to maintain the property, here you must sign a contract agreeing to build a home with a minimum square footage, usually around 1,000 square feet strictly for living space. Garages don't count toward that minimum. And here's the biggest issue for the budget-conscious homesteader. No mobile homes, no tiny homes on wheels. They want a permanent tax base, not transients. They're looking for people who are planting roots, not people looking for a cheap place to park a rig. Number 3, Manila, Iowa. This is the Sunrise Edition Phase 2. They have a similar setup, single-family lots, totally free. But let's look at the hidden costs, because free never means zero output. While the land price is waived, you're responsible for the utility hookups. In developed suburbs, a developer usually rolls this into the home price. Here, you are the developer. You're paying for the excavation to connect to the city water and sewer systems. That can run you several $1,000s before you even pour concrete. However, Manila sweetens the pot with a 5-year tax abatement. This is critical. It means for 5 years, you aren't paying the full property tax load on the improvements you build. From a wealth preservation standpoint, this is the strongest part of the deal. You get the asset, the land, for free, you build the value with the house, and the government steals less of your wealth for the first half decade. Number 4, St. Louis, Missouri. Now we're shifting gears. This is a true mow-to-own scenario, specifically handled through the LRA, or Land Ruralization Authority. This is not about building a new farm. This is about urban reclamation. Here's how the eligibility actually works, because this is where people get confused. You cannot live in California, buy a plane ticket to St. Louis, and claim a mow-to-own lot for $100. You must own the property directly next to the vacant lot. The lot must share a border with your existing home. Why? Because the city is trying to offload the maintenance cost. They spend millions a year mowing grass and picking up trash on vacant land. By selling it to you for a nominal fee, they transfer that maintenance liability to you. The catch? You must keep it mowed. You must pay the property taxes on it. If you want this deal, you have to buy the distressed house next door first. Number 5. Beatrice, Nebraska. This town enacted the Homestead Act of 2010, playing off the history of the original Homestead Act. They have lots available in new subdivisions, not just old infill, but here's the requirement that trips people up: occupancy. The city isn't just giving you land to build a rental empire. You, the applicant, must live in the home you build for a minimum of 3 years. This is an anti-speculation clause. They want neighbors, not absentee landlords. Additionally, just like Manila, the free land comes with a bill. You're responsible for all utility connection fees and building permits. You trade autonomy for convenience by plugging into the city grid, but you save on the initial heavy infrastructure costs of drilling a well. Number 6. Grafton, Illinois. Grafton is interesting because it's near the confluence of the Mississippi and Illinois rivers. It's scenic, and the soil quality is high. But their program works as a rebate. This is a crucial distinction. In the other towns, you pay $0 at closing. In Grafton, you might have to put down a deposit, often around $5,000 for the lot. But once you finish the house within the agreed time frame, usually 3 years, they refund you the money. So, effectively, the land cost is zero, but the cash flow requirement is higher. Up front. Why would you do this? Because Illinois has some of the most aggressive property taxes in the nation. Grafton uses this rebate to lure you in despite the state-level tax burden. You need to weigh the physical assets against the fiscal liability of the state. Number 7. Plainville, Kansas. Plainville is offering free lots in city limits, sized roughly 150 by 90 feet. That's a standard suburban lot size. Plenty of room for a garden, but not enough for livestock. Here's the financial breakdown. You put down a $500 deposit. If you complete construction within 18 months, you get that deposit back. But look at the geography. Plainville is aptly named. It's in Rooks County, hours away from a major metro. This is for people who work remotely or have a trade that works anywhere, like welding or mechanics. If you're a digital nomad, this works. If you need a corporate job, you'll starve here. The city also throws in a tax rebate incentive on the structure itself for the first few years, trying to create a tax base from nothing. Number 8, Claremont, Minnesota. Claremont offers what they call the empty lot program. They're effectively giving away residential lots to qualifying households. But here's the catch regarding eligibility: income limits. This is often framed as workforce housing. The goal is to get working-class families into homes. Depending on the specific grant cycle, there may be caps on how much money you can make to qualify for the free land. Why does this matter? Because if you're a high net worth individual looking for a bug-out location, you might be disqualified. This program is social engineering designed to support the local labor force. Also, consider the climate. We're talking about Minnesota winters. You need to factor in the cost of heating and insulation when you calculate your building costs. Number 9, Buffalo, New York. This is the Urban Homestead program. This acts as a hybrid. Buffalo deals with both existing dilapidated structures and vacant lots. For their mow-to-own style programs involving vacant lots, the rule is similar to St. Louis. Priority is given to adjacent homeowners. If you live there, you can buy the lot next door for $1 plus closing costs to expand your footprint. But they also sell existing shells, houses that have been stripped for $1. This represents the ultimate sweat equity trade. This is not for the faint of heart. The eligibility requirements here aren't just about residency, they're about capability. You have to prove you have the funds to fix the code violations and the skills to do the work. You're moving into areas that have seen economic collapse. You are the revitalization plan. Number 10, Rockford, Illinois. The city utilizes a variation of the strategy often called the Mow-to-Own or Mow-to-Improve program. But unlike the simple dollar lot deals, this one is structured more like a labor contract. Here's the deal. If you own a property next to a city-owned vacant lot, you can enter an agreement to maintain that lot. You cut the grass, you remove the trash, you keep it up to code. In exchange, the city credits the value of your labor and expenses against the purchase price of the lot. Some documentation indicates you can reduce the purchase price by up to 50% through sweat equity over a period of time, typically up to 24 months. It's not free on day one, it's a discount you earn through physical labor. If you stop mowing, you lose the credit. It ensures only serious neighbors get the land, not speculators. Number 11, Lincoln, Kansas. We're going back to the rural builds for this one. Lincoln County has been a hub for these types of incentives for years, often offering free residential lots in the Heartland Ridge subdivision. The requirements here mirror the other Kansas programs, but focus heavily on permanent construction. You're looking at a minimum square footage requirement, usually excluding basements and garages. The city provides the streets, water, and sewer to the lot line, which is a massive capital savings for you. But here's the reality of the location. You're in north central Kansas. This is agricultural country. The cost of living is incredibly low, but so is the local access to specialized medical care or high-end retail. You're trading convenience for a mortgage-free lifestyle, provided you have the cash to build the structure up front. Number 12, Muskegon, Michigan. We're ending with another urban infill strategy. Muskegon has utilized adopt-a-lot style programs where adjacent property owners can purchase buildable vacant lots for a nominal fee, plus closing costs. Here's the critical eligibility factor for Muskegon. You must be in good standing with the city. That means your current property taxes must be paid up, and you cannot have any open code violations on your existing home. This is a reward system for good citizens. They aren't going to give more land to the guy who already has a junkyard on his front lawn. If you're already invested in the community, this is the cheapest way to double your lot size, plant a massive garden, and secure a buffer zone between you and the next neighbor. It turns a liability into your personal asset. Here's the bottom line. None of these programs are free in the sense that you get something for nothing. They're trading illiquid assets, the land, for your liquid capital and labor. If you're looking for Mow-to-Own, you first need to buy a cheap house in a distressed city, become a resident, and then acquire the adjacent lots. That's how you build an urban compound. If you're looking for a homestead, you need the cash for construction materials to unlock the free land in the Midwest. In an economy where inflation is destroying the dollar, these programs offer an exit ramp, but only if you read the fine print regarding eligibility. Pick your location based on the climate you can survive in and the tax code you can stomach. That's it for today, and I'll see you in the next one.